In 1957, a Wisconsin company put a lawn mower on the cover of Mechanix Illustrated. It had air conditioning, a radio telephone, and a built-in chilled drink dispenser. They called it the power mower of the future. The same year, they introduced the world's first practical rear-engine riding mower. John Deere spent 6 years studying it before they could build their own version. By 2003, Simplicity Manufacturing had $350 million in annual sales and was the premium mower every serious suburban homeowner chose over John Deere. Then the company that supplied their engines for 80 years bought them for $227.5 million and dragged them into bankruptcy. Henry Ford destroyed the original company that owned the Simplicity name in 1920. Briggs Stratton destroyed the second one in 2020. 100 years apart. Same story. This is how it happened. In 1872, a group of Milwaukee iron founders filed a charter for Western Malleable and Gray Iron Manufacturing Company. Their foundry cast the parts that powered early farm engines, and by the turn of the century, the Simplicity name was stamped onto gasoline engines sold across the Midwest. The business moved north to Port Washington in 1911, following new ownership under Leland Turner. For a time, the Turner Manufacturing Company thrived, building Simplicity-branded tractors just as American agriculture was shifting to mechanization. Then, in the wake of World War I, Henry Ford entered the tractor market with the Fordson Model F, slashing prices to levels no small firm could match. By 1920, Turner Manufacturing was in receivership, its assets listed in a court docket and its workers facing an uncertain future. Where others saw ruin, William J. Niederkorn saw a way forward. Once a bookkeeper and then a sales manager, Niederkorn gathered what remained: patents, tools, and the Simplicity name. On January 3, 1922, he filed new incorporation papers in Port Washington, founding Simplicity Manufacturing Company. Out of bankruptcy and liquidation, a new chapter began. Not with a product, but with the determination to rebuild from the wreckage left by Ford's price war. Niederkorn's decision set the stage for a company that would spend the next century redefining what American ingenuity could accomplish. In 1937, Simplicity Manufacturing stepped into a new era with the introduction of its two-wheel walking tractor, produced for Montgomery Ward and advertised as a practical solution for small farms and suburban gardens. This machine, powered by a Briggs Stratton engine and adaptable with an array of attachments, quickly became a fixture in Ward's national catalog. The move into garden equipment was more than a product shift. It was a bet on versatility and mechanical know-how, a bet that would define the company's next decades. When war arrived, Simplicity's assembly lines changed overnight. The War Production Board assigned the Port Washington plant to manufacture electric fence controllers and external surface grinders, precision work that demanded exacting standards. Civilian production halted, but the workforce stayed busy, honing skills in machining and fabrication that would later shape the company's engineering identity. These wartime contracts not only kept paychecks flowing, but deepened the plant's technical bench, building a foundation of expertise that would carry forward into the post-war years. The experience with complex tooling and government specifications gave Simplicity's team a confidence and a capability that would soon find its way into the most ambitious designs in the lawn and garden industry. In 1957, Simplicity Manufacturing's engineering team introduced a machine that would change the way Americans cared for their lawns: the Wonder Boy rear-engine riding mower. This was not just another mower. The Wonder Boy carried a compact engine mounted at the back, a full floating deck that followed the ground's contours, and an innovative joystick steering system. These features, protected by patents filed between 1957 and 1959, gave homeowners unmatched maneuverability and a smoother cut, setting the Wonder Boy apart from anything else on the market. That same year, Simplicity unveiled the X100 concept mower, a futuristic prototype featured in a 2-page spread in Mechanix Illustrated. The X100 promised air conditioning, a radio telephone, and a chilled drink dispenser, features more at home in a car than a yard machine. While the X100 never reached production, its influence was clear. Simplicity's anonymous engineers had pushed the boundaries of what a lawnmower could be. The Wonder Boy's practical innovations and the X100's bold vision positioned Simplicity as a technical leader, ready to meet the demands of a rapidly expanding suburban America. Montgomery Ward's national catalog gave Simplicity's machines a reach that few regional manufacturers could hope for. By the late 1950s, Simplicity mowers and tractors appeared in mail-order listings sent to millions of households, turning a Wisconsin-built machine into a fixture on lawns from New England to California. This broad distribution insulated the company from local downturns and kept production lines busy, even as competitors faltered. But it was not just the catalog orders that built stability. In 1985, Simplicity's workers became owners themselves, as the company converted to an employee stock ownership trust. ESOT certificates appeared alongside pay stubs, and board meetings began with voices from the shop floor. Former ESOT board members recall the sense of shared investment and the pride that came from knowing every machine shipped carried a piece of their future. Through the late 1980s and early 1990s, this model kept jobs in Port Washington and held outside investors at bay. For nearly a decade, the company's fate rested in the hands of those who built it, forging a rare period of resilience in an industry defined by constant change. Private equity arrived in Port Washington in 1994, when Kohlberg and Company purchased a controlling stake in Simplicity for $95 million. The investment brought new capital and the promise of growth, but it also introduced a new kind of pressure. Quarterly targets replaced the steady rhythms of local ownership. Managers weighed debt covenants against payroll, and decisions once made in the break room now came down from distant boardrooms. Jim Weir, a former Briggs Stratton executive, stepped in as chief executive officer in 1999, bringing a reputation for hard bargaining and a mandate to deliver results. That fall, tensions between leadership and the workforce reached a breaking point. On October 12, 1999, 350 United Auto Workers walked out, halting production as contract talks stalled over wage freezes and healthcare costs. The strike lasted 2 weeks, its echo felt in every corner of the plant. In the end, both sides settled for modest gains and a fragile peace. But the old sense of trust never fully returned. The company, once defined by shared purpose, now moved forward with a sharper edge, setting the stage for the next, more consequential change. By 2003, Simplicity Manufacturing stood at its highest point. Annual sales reached $350 million, a figure that reflected not just strong demand, but decades of careful product development, dealer loyalty, and technical reputation. The acquisition of Snapper in 2002 had doubled Simplicity's reach, bringing in a new plant in Georgia and folding a respected competitor into its portfolio. Board minutes from that period show a company confident enough to finance the deal with a $30 million loan and a stock swap, betting on continued growth. Yet beneath the surface, the industry's shape was changing. On June 2, 2004, Briggs Stratton, the company that had supplied Simplicity's engines for generations, announced a definitive agreement to buy Simplicity for $227.5 million in cash. The deal was straightforward: with no stock or earn-out conditions, and recognized Snapper as a core asset. Directors who had steered the company through strikes, private equity, and expansion now voted to sell to their longtime supplier. For a brand that had survived every storm since the Great Depression, the irony was unmistakable. Simplicity reached its peak just as it handed over control to the very partner that powered its rise. On September 17, 2008, workers in Port Washington received formal notice. The Simplicity plant would close within weeks. The letter, required by federal law, listed severance terms, 12 weeks' pay, plus 4 weeks for every year served. But no amount of compensation could soften the blow. For generations, the factory's hum had signaled steady work and a sense of belonging. Now, silence settled over the empty assembly lines as equipment was packed for shipment out of state. That same year, Briggs Stratton, Simplicity's longtime engine supplier and new owner, faced mounting debt. By 2020, bankruptcy filings revealed $800 million owed to creditors. Simplicity, once a symbol of American resilience, disappeared not with a headline, but with a court docket number and a locked gate. For the families of Port Washington, the loss was immediate and deeply felt. In April 2021, the Simplicity and Snapper brands passed quietly into the hands of KPS Capital Partners. The purchase agreement, filed in bankruptcy court, required KPS to keep some United States manufacturing for 2 years. But the details left room for a different future. By September 2023, a press release confirmed what many had suspected. Simplicity's North American production would end on December 31st. No fanfare, no final parade of machines, just a notice, and then the lights went out. Yet the name did not vanish entirely. Export catalogs for 2025 list Simplicity zero-turn mowers and electric snow throwers for European buyers, built with relocated tooling and shipped from plants outside the United States. What began as a Wisconsin foundry now lingers on as a badge in foreign brochures, a legacy preserved in export paperwork and type approval certificates. The story closes not with a dramatic collapse, but with a line item in a corporate ledger and a brand surviving as a faint echo overseas. In 2023, Simplicity's final North American mower left Port Washington, its fate sealed by the bankruptcy of Briggs Stratton, the very partner that powered its machines for 8 decades. Even the most resilient American brands can vanish, not in spectacle, but in silence. Legacies end quietly. Progress rarely asks permission.